very confused. Here's why. Remy Ma, and I played it earlier in this video for you. Remy Ma claimed that PAPOOSE got a cut of Claressa Shields' money. So again, I'm asking the question, why would Claressa Shields have a longtime manager? She should have went with MVP. But let Claressa say, I don't need MVP. I don't need Jake Paul. Okay. But he just told you they had their stuff put together and he didn't dislike anything about it. But guess what? Everything about Win Records.
They had an amazing deal, and I think for anybody else, that deal would have been even more amazing. But I think for Claressa, who she is and where she's at, you know, I wouldn't say it was a perfect fit for her.
Got you.
Notice when people don't really have nothing, they say stupid stuff like that. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, BOXINGEGO Unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. What I'm about to tell you will change your perspective on everything. Claressa Shields, so many different thoughts. I will blow the lid off of this story completely. I'll present some things because there's been a lack of transparency from Claressa Shields regarding managerial choices, her whole dealings with Win Records. So in this video, allow me to present some things and you decide. Buckle up. Now, Claressa Shields' career has had many downs recently, and it's left a lot of people with questions. What is she doing? Is she hurting her career? One of those concerns that frequently keeps coming up is her dealings with Win Records. Who are they? Who are these people? Why would a boxer sign to Win Records, a record label, right? Who's her manager? All these things fans have been left in the dark about, right? Now, before I get into some of what I have to say, I want to take you back in time to when Claressa Shields said this regarding, there were a lot of people, including Remy Ma, who said that PAPOOSE is Claressa Shields' manager.
My friend, while her friends be on my phone, calling my phone, literally playing on my phone, because they got my number from this bozo, while they playing on my phone, that was my friend, I would be like, girl, you just turned 30 years old. You are a world champion. You are accomplished. You have made it from out the ghetto, from the slums, from the depths of Flint, Michigan. You don't got no kids. You have your whole life ahead of you. Why are you attaching yourself to this 47-year-old man that doesn't have anything going, has no career, no job, no income, except for the income that he's claiming off of you, your percentage, because he's your manager? Got you out here talking, looking crazy. He's the one that don't want to sign, don't want to get his stuff out his ex house. Doesn't be there for his child that he begged for, but telling you he wants another one. Let me guess. He's telling you he want a son, right? He has a son.
What's the next thing? What's the plan for 2026 like?
I'm having a baby.
Oh, okay, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
I'm having a baby.
Do you prefer like a girl, a boy? I mean, I know obviously healthy baby, but do you have any like?
Pat want a boy, so I want a boy.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? I don't mind either one.
Is he gonna box? Is he gonna box his son?
My son probably gonna rap and box.
He gonna do both.
Little dude gonna have a hand problem for sure, like his daddy.
Telling you he wants another one. Let me guess. He's telling you he want a son, right?
Pat want a boy, so I want a boy.
Wow. So it's funny that Remy Ma warned Claressa, said there's no smoke. I'm not your enemy. Watch out for that man, who at the time was 47. What does a late 40s man see in a young-minded 30-year-old at that time, right? Now 31. And she said he has no career, no job, no money, no income, gambling problem, already has kids. Rumors are he has a vasectomy. You know what I mean? Like, what's the game? And Remy told and warned Claressa Shields what kind of games being played, how's it going down, that Papoose was talking circles around her. And it's unfortunate that Shields hasn't experienced enough life, you know, maybe being great at boxing or whatever, and you're totally rookie to this relationship game. Literally what Remy said has come true in multiple ways, right? Her saying, let me guess, he's telling you he wants another son. He wants a boy. He has one. And then I show you a clip of Claressa Shields like, oh, Papoose, he said he wants a boy. So I want a boy. This girl is obtuse. I try to warn you. And notice in that 2025 clip, she literally said, I'm having a baby in 2026, 100%. Not my words, her words. So now that we're in 2026, what is she saying? Oh, we decided that we're pushing it out till 2027. Bro, get these people out of here playing so many games. You said you wanted a baby by 30. In 2025, you said you're for sure 100% having a baby in 2026. Now in 2026, we're already going on, actually it's July, so we're more than halfway through. We're in the 7th month. And then now you're saying, oh, I want to fight some more girls. Then why were you saying you were having a baby in multiple interviews this year? So again, everything Remy was hinting to and suggesting is checking out. And I think a lot of people, as this develops, they owe Remy an apology, because when people break up for the first time, you know, people go with whatever information is available right then and there. Papoose always portrayed himself as like, I held her down while she was in prison. Remy cheated first, and I was a stand-up guy, and she was taking money out the house. But now looking back, I don't think we could trust a lot of what he was saying, right? This is the same man who there's rumors that he's messed with other people too. And the whole timeline with Claressa sounds jacked up if you look at the dates, right? The same man who, in his response to Remy Ma, he said he was a victim of gambling. What nearly 50-year-old man considers himself a victim because he chose to gamble? It's not like somebody put the blick to your head and said, hey, mother, you better roll this dice. You better play Keno. You better play this hand of blackjack. You better play these slot machines or it's over for you. That certainly didn't happen. So you can't be a victim when you choose. You're willingly choosing to take earned money and spend it in the casinos, which is not guaranteed money. And there's a high probability that you end up losing, because we know the saying goes, the house always wins. There's no one that gambles, even the professional gamblers, that won 100% of the time. It just doesn't happen, right? You're going to take losses. So how are you a victim? Then Papoose also said in that video that he was like, yeah, I caught the habit. You know, I fell victim to gambling. I believe he's a narcissist just like Claressa Shields. So even in that admission, he's trying to make himself sound like the good guy. Like he befell and became, there's some type of victimhood there, that some, you know, omnipotent being or something that forced him to gamble. But what he also said was shocking. He said in that video that I was gambling. He admitted to gambling, and he was like, but it never affected her. It never affected her. It never. How can you have a gambling addiction and or problem and then say it doesn't affect the other person or the household? That right there shows me there's more to the story than meets the eye.
I can control anything in my life, but I did fall victim to gambling, going through that. I can admit that. But you know, did you notice that there's no accountability with her? She never admit anything. I can admit that I fell victim to that. I caught a habit with that. But guess what? Anything I went through with the gambling, it never affected her. It never affected her at all.
Anything I went through with the gambling, it never affected her. It never affected her at all.
Pay attention to Papoos's eyes as he's telling this story. And right before he finishes, his eyes look like it cuts to the left, but very shifty-eyed. Just pay attention.
Anything I went through with the gambling, it never affected her. It never affected her at all.
Try again. So Remy Ma posted this, and it is a reported pawn shop receipt from 11/6/2024, right? And Remy Ma said it's where Papoose took it to Jim pawnbrokers and pawned her jewelry, to which, as of my knowledge, Papoose has never refuted. It has his name on it. You see at the top, Willie Mackey, and it looks like the signature says Willie Mackey, and it's a whole itemized invoice, right, of what was pawned and the amount and all that. So when Papoose did the clapback video, he was like, yeah, I admit I was gambling, but it never affected her. It never affected her. How does it not affect her if you're pawning her stuff? I mean, I took it to the pawn shop, but besides that, it never affected her. It didn't. But she said her items are coming up missing, right? Now, you know, your boy Ego, I don't come to play no games. We got receipts. So Remy Ma says that he took her jewelry to the pawn shop. And the caption reads that too many lies to refute, but let's start with this one, Papoose. Why were you in the pawn shop 6 months ago? Did you ever go pick it up? You had till your birthday to get it out. Why can't I find my Cartier bracelet? Huh, Rissa? So again, I am of the belief that a lot of y'all who prejudge Remy owe her a muff apology, right? Because the story is not making sense from Papoose, but with Remy, it's making a whole lot of sense. She's saying, how come I can't find my bracelet? She's showing an invoice from a pawn shop with what is allegedly, we'll say, his name and signature, right? And this man is getting on the live talking about, when I caught the habit, I was a victim. I fell victim to gambling, but it never affected her. Come on, man. And whether you believe the pawn shop stuff or not, her Claressa Shields' friend said the same thing, that Claressa had to repurchase a purse because it came up missing too. So what is the likelihood that one person and people's possessions suddenly come up missing when this person is around, right? Nobody has ever said that with me. Like, man, I had a Rolex and then Ego came around and now I can't find it. Or I had $2,000 in my wallet until I hung out with Ego and now my money's missing, right? So I'll let you guys be the judge of that. But either way, regardless of the pawn shop stuff, that was a foolish statement from Papoose to say, I caught the habit and I was gambling, which Remy Ma said, right? And then say it never affected my household. That's impossible. It's impossible because I don't have to know what games you play. All I know and all I need to know is how a casino works. You're not winning 100% of the time. It just does not happen. There's professional poker players that are very good. They didn't win every tournament, every single game. It's impossible. So you're going to take losses. Now, Remy also said he don't really have any income. And this is why I had to show you. I told you from the beginning of this, I'm going to expose the characters, right? So Remy's saying he don't have income. Now, who should we believe? Claressa Shields or the woman who has been with him, has had a baby with him? Not this fake phony stuff that Claressa Shields keeps pushing back about how he wants to have her baby, but there's no actual baby here, right? There's a woman who carried his baby and has a beautiful child, right? And she's known him like 10 times longer than Claressa Shields. You can't learn everything about a person in a year or two, especially when you try to pit your knowledge against somebody else that was with him for longer, right? So for me, I think Claressa Shields should have listened to her OG, Remy Ma, and looked at the situation and be like, yo, I was in Remy's inbox. We were friends. And now her man's coming on to me. Or, I mean, really, PAPOOSE said on a talk show that Claressa inboxed him first. So that's grimy in and of itself, because you can't say PAPOOSE initiated it if you were in his inbox first. He said that on a podcast interview, right? So however you guys hook up, you knew it was wrong because Remy was giving you fashion tips and you were all in her inbox. She was wishing you happy birthday and stuff like that. And if you weren't doing anything wrong, then why didn't you tell her? This is why Claressa Shields and PAPOOSE will never be accepted as this hot power couple, because you guys went about it foul. And you could play all the games, but you can't play them with me, and you can't play them with anyone who's intelligent. Timeline doesn't make sense, how you went about it. Because again, if you did nothing wrong, then there's nothing to hide. Now, let me give you an analogy. If you have a wife and you guys are supposed to be on a strict diet and you want to break the diet and you want Taco Bell, right? So you sneak out to the house, go to Taco Bell, eat in your car, and you just like eat all this calories and eat all this food, Mexican pizzas, you're chowing down. And then when you get back, if there was no shame in your game, you would tell your wife when she's like, where'd you go? You would tell her the truth. Hey, I went to Taco Bell and I got $30 worth of food and I killed it in my car, right? But the liar will lie to his wife and say, oh, I had to get some gas and put some money in the bank account. And he's going to omit the part about going to Taco Bell because you as a couple, you and your rib, your wife, are supposed to be on this diet. That's how you know people are doing wrong. Because if you're not on a diet and you're a grown man or a grown woman and you want Taco Bell, you go to Taco Bell and you eat with no shame. You know, you get what you want and be like, ooh, like imagine a video gamer, right? A live streamer, gamer. That's what they do. They're like, man, I'm playing games all day. I'm about to go to Taco Bell. I'm going to the gas station and get some energy drinks. Done. The reason you could do that comfortably is because you're not hiding anything. But if you're not supposed to be drinking energy drinks, or you're on a diet and not supposed to be eating Taco Bell, that's where you would withhold the information and or hide it or throw it in the trash outside instead of the house trash so your wife don't see it, because you're doing wrong. So back to Claressa, if you were in Remy's inbox pretending to be her friend, why didn't you come clean? Why did she have to snoop through PAPOOSE's phone to find out that you guys were linking up or whatever? Why didn't you say, oh, hey, girl, you know, we've been cool for a while, but I got a crush on your husband. And I know you guys don't have a divorce, but I'm trying to pursue that. Because you guys were creeping. That's what I firmly believe. Now, I'm not going to rehash everything because this is a video about something else. But this is the DM, and you see it from January 15th, 2020, right? It says, mad hype, love you, congrats on making history. So Remy was showing her love way back in 2020. And then Claressa said, yes, indeed, love. You're a boss and you real. I respect it. So they were communicating in the pandemic of 2020. And then you allegedly didn't have knowledge of Papoose or didn't meet him until the Shakur fight. Come on, bro. Come on. So that means you were already cool with Remy and you didn't run it by her. Now, what you're seeing on the screen is all these DMs between Remy and Claressa Shields, right? And again, I'm not going to read every one of them. You guys could do your own research. She was giving her fashion tips and the whole nine. And you see these outfits. Remy Ma put the caption, and here's Papoose's weirdo girlfriend wishing me Happy New Year's a couple days later, LOL. This lady was actually hitting me up for advice on how to show off her body. This is crazy. I created this monster though, praising you, knowing things weren't right, and keeping quiet, knowing the truth. You think you know what I got, so that's why you feel comfortable lying to these people. I promise you, you gonna be sorry, said Remy Ma. And I think she was right. Claressa Shields these days is looking real sorry, right? Career not looking good, getting chastised in the blog space. Like, it's just, everything's looking bad. Since this fake union with you and Papoose, your career is in shambles. And everybody sees it, right? Everybody judging your relationship. Again, in my opinion, this was never going to be respected because how y'all went about it. Cool, people break up, people divorce. That's not the end of the world. It's how y'all went about it. And then what I believe to be lies, lying to the public, acting like y'all wasn't doing dirt when we know there's more to it. Point blank, period. So I had to set the stage so you could see the characters. For me, this shows you Claressa Shields, who she is and her character. You, in my honest opinion, knew you were doing wrong, which is why Remy had to find out her own way what was going on behind her back. You snaked her. A real woman would have been like, yo, I'm in love with your husband. Do you mind? You know what I mean? And get that stamp of approval. But you try to go around that. And now you're with a married man. He still has a tattoo of his wife on his arm. He seems like he's not that into you, and so on and so forth. And you've been dealt a bad blow from karma ever since. And Remy had a glow up. Hot songs. She released about 3 of them things. 3 songs. People are loving the energy. She's working on choreography for a music video at the Knicks parade. You know, she got it going on. Meanwhile, Claressa Shields looking older, haggard, has to team up with Zeus to put up a clown show, reality star undercard, got banned from MVP, having all these meltdowns that further make her look unstable and unhinged, right? Hair looking raggedy, wearing wigs, gained 25 pounds, her own admission. Karma is a funny thing. And that's what I feel you could always tell as time goes on who was right in the relationship. Because if this person is saying the other person's the bad guy and the other person's saying that the other person's the bad guy, over time it's going to really be revealed who was right. So Remy's like, he a deadbeat. He don't take care of his kids or don't see his kids or whatever's going on there. He's pawning stuff. He don't have money like that. He's the least having dude that I've ever been with. All of that tracks to this day. People are saying Claressa Shields is paying for everything to the point she's having to go to the Breakfast Club and try to defend it on the radio. Oh man, he pays for everything. He pays for flights, my mortgage, my car note, my insurance. He pays for this. I don't know when the last time I bought a flight in a hotel. And many people think she's capping, and Papoose really ain't paying for all those things, right? It looks like it's all on her dime. So her bank account is going to show. It's going to show. And like back to the pawn shop receipt. if he's the head of hip hop with Win Records and TuneCore, why is he going to the pawn shop? If you're so successful, why do you need to go to a pawn shop? That's like going to Coinstar at a grocery store, you know, and then you have no money in your account. Like, there's a reason you're going. There's a reason you're cashing in all your coins, because you're low on funds, right? Like, I ain't been to no pawn shop unless I'm there to shop. I can't tell you the last time I went to a pawn shop to try to pawn something. You know what I mean? So he allegedly has all these jobs. Where they at?
Right?
I need some money.
Excuse me?
I need some money.
To be honest, I don't believe you.
So
Keep it real.
I feel like I need to get paid for doing just this. Like, I know I got paid money before, but I need to get paid for just this, like, individually.
So, you know, keep yourself beautiful. They go randomly say, yo, come do this photo shoot.
Right, model type shit. Right.
Yeah, that's how you stay in shape. You know what I'm saying? Then when you go to camp, you ain't got to start from scratch. You know what I'm saying?
Thanks for the motivation, Big Daddy.
Oh my goodness. So again, she went to the Breakfast Club and said that Papoose buys all of her cars and all the mortgage and rent and all that. And then she dropped that video after at the gym saying, hey, I need some money. And he walked away and says, I don't care. I don't believe you. He didn't say, hey, babe, how much you need, or I got y'all, or pull out his card, be like, oh, what's your Cash App, what's your Venmo? I'll shoot it over to you. He did not sound concerned. He just looked like he was about to finish his set in the gym. And she's asking for money looking dumb. And he was like, started talking about she need to keep herself in shape so she'll be ready to fight. Bro, it sound like been pimping since been pimping, right? He concerned with everything he talk about is your career and girls you beat up. You don't see the play. It sounds like he needs you to be optimal in that ring, so keep the good times rolling and the gravy train keep coming, right? Why he keep, if my girl's like, I need money, I would at least say what for or how much you need, something to that effect. I'm not going to be like, oh, you need to stay in shape so you don't get too big. Like, come on, bro. Get these people out of here. So now that I've set the table, let the story continue. We'll go deeper down this rabbit hole, right? Because I wanted to show you the characters we're dealing with. Remy already told you, Papoose, he's not earning like that. He hasn't been, you know, the money man. Claressa Shields, she's trying to cover for him, I believe. She was like, y'all forget Papoose is the $1.5 million man. He already talked about that. He said he had, in 2006, had that deal, and then he lost the deal, and then he said he spent all his money fighting Remy's case.
Documented. Her civil suit. Documented. My account. Also, I wanted to add before I end this live. When I first met her back then, everybody knew I was on top of the world. The $1.5 million man. Hottest rapper on the planet. Y'all seen it. She reached out to meet me. She reached out to say, I want to meet your artist. Long story short, I don't even want to get into all that. That's old news. I'm only bringing that up to y'all to say this.
Now pay attention to how people talk. He said, I met her, I was introduced, but you know, I'm not even gonna bore y'all with that because that's old news. That's what he said, right? It's old news. But then he started off by saying, y'all know me. Back then, I was on top of the world, hottest rapper. So in one regard, you're revisiting the past, saying how you were the hottest rapper allegedly in 2006 with this multi-million-dollar deal or whatever, right? But then later on you say, oh, that's in the past, it don't even matter. Carry on.
She came to meet me. I was on top in all aspects of my life. doing good on my feet. 100%. Her situation took place, like I said, I left my tour, came back, bailed her out. When I bailed her out, nothing but expense after expense after expense after expense. Remember, she got remanded, she blew trial, they took her right away. I had to pay to pack her crib up, pay to put everything in storage, pay the storage bill every month, get a condo closer to the jail so I could visit her every day. Visit her every day, driving back and forth to the visit to see her every day. Slay everybody in my ear, Pap, you got to get to work. You can't visit her every day. But when I speak to her on the phone, she would cry to me. She was so upset. She was broken. They broke up. She would constantly cry. I knew she needed me. Kept visiting her. Cool. In the process of me doing that, I'm running back and forth to the jail for a year straight. I exhausted all my funds. I exhausted all my funds at that point. So when that transpired, I had to get back to work. That's why I only visited her every day for a year straight. But after that, I had the space to visit out to like 3 times a week. Never missed a Christmas, never missed a Mother's Day, never missed a single holiday. I was there. The whole thing, right?
Boom. He just told you. In the process of visiting Remy and her going to prison, exhausted all his funds. Why does PAPOOSE and Claressa Shields keep saying he the $1.5 million man when he just told you he lost all that money a long time ago? You got it a long time ago, and you certainly lost it a long time ago. So again, when you listen to what Remy was saying about him, it's really starting to track, right? She says, you became a POS and you don't like the way your career panned out. That's what it seems like. That's why you keep revisiting the past. Why would a man keep talking about, man, I was a man, I was Johnny on the spot, I had a $1.5 million deal, K-Slay, record deal, I was on top of the world, hottest rapper. Why are you talking about that? What are you doing in 2026, right? Then you said you ghost wrote 85, 90% of Remy Ma's records. Okay, now that y'all broken up, how is she still dropping heat musically that people want to listen to sonically, right? She has dropped 3, and maybe all of them she's dissing you and Claressa Shields. So surely you didn't ghostwrite in a song that was going to diss yourself and Claressa Shields. So again, how come musically she's pivoted and she's dropping stuff people want to hear? Meanwhile, you doing these low budget videos, not even full length videos, talk about these girls are backdoor you, boom, boom, boom. People are backdoor you, boom, boom, boom. Heinz Ketchup will backdoor you. Like you stuck in the past. No evolution, no re-up, and always behind a woman who's more successful than you. So now that I've set the table, I told you I was going to establish and expose the characters. Now let's advance this story and go deeper down the rabbit hole. Now here's where I advance the story and we go deeper down that rabbit hole. So pay attention. Now, Claressa Shields had a press conference for the K. Scott fight. And I'll be real, I didn't hear anybody talk about it. So right here, this is probably going to be the first time you're hearing about this. And I purposefully, when I first heard it, I waited. Because there's a lot of content creators who talk about Claressa Shields. So I waited a couple of days after the press conference just to see if anybody caught it and if anybody was going to make content around it. But seemingly everybody missed it. And let me show you what BOXINGEGO caught that nobody else that I've seen has talked about. And I think it's important to this story. So, K. Scott, Claressa Shields press conference. She got on the mic. Let me get my trusted headphones to say her piece. But pay special attention to what she said next. Play the clip.
And this is the first time that my ex-manager Mark Taffet is on the opposite side of me, representing somebody else. So thank you.
Did you hear that? Let's go back. Play it again. Pay attention.
Just do. And this is the first time that my ex-manager Mark Taffet is on the opposite side of me, representing somebody else. So thank you for being here and representing Kay, and giving her the direction to get to a world championship and to win 2 belts at 160, because I vacated those belts and I went to 175.
Okay, so this is Mark Taffet, the guy with the look like a dress shirt.
Because nobody will fight me.
Right here. You see it right there. Mark Taffet. That's her coach, and then that's Kay Scott. But pay attention, the guy with glasses is Claressa Shields' ex-manager. Ex. Like DMX. The ex-manager. She just confirmed it. She just said, this is the first time. About the first time that he's on the opposite side coaching or managing another fighter and going against me. She just told you. Let's now that I've revealed it, let's play it again.
Giving her the direction. First time that my ex-manager Mark Taffet is on the opposite side of me, representing some. Maybe this is the first time that. Just do. And this is the first time that my ex-manager Mark Taffet is on the opposite side of me, representing somebody else. So thank you for being here and representing.
This is the first time my ex-manager, like an ex-girlfriend would be someone you broke up with, right? My ex-manager is now representing my competition. Again, pay attention. This is where the plot thickens. So this is Mark Taffet. This is his page, right? And you see he's advertising the fight because Kay Scott is now his client, right? And he's like, Kay Scott puts her belts on the line against the GWOAT. So she's in the comment section right there. Locked in. I told you, this is where the plot thickens. So, what do we have here? You have a boxing manager that represented Claressa Shields for a long time. We'll get to that in a second. Now, he is an ex-manager, not representing Claressa Shields, but the girl she picked, Kay Scott, he's managing her as one of his clients. That's why she said that at the press conference. So we got questions. When did this happen? If you peeped what she said, and if you didn't, rewind it, on the podium, she was like, this is about the first time. It's about the, and she had to like jog her memory because this change, she's trying to figure out, is this my first fight without that manager? That's why she seemed a little bit foggy on the date. She was like, this is the first time, about the first time that he's going against me, right? Because, again, he's represented Claressa Shields for the longest time. Now, more proof in case you needed it. It says Kay Scott, WBO ranked middleweight, Mark Taffet Media, right? Welcome to the team. This was December of last year, December 8th of last year. So he was working with Claressa for all of these fights. But in December, he picked up a would-be future opponent for Claressa as a client, right? Let's keep going. And shout out to all the supporters and your contributions and donations, which allows me to do deep work research like this that nobody else is necessarily doing, right? To give you guys groundbreaking content. I appreciate you. It goes a long way. Okay, boom. It didn't take long. Now, peep. So now there's PAPOOSE. Now we're cooking with grease. Right? Let me explain this to you. This picture is PAPOOSE. Then you have the manager that's no longer Claressa Shields' manager, Mark Taffet. Boom. Then Claressa, Dimitri Salida, and then her opponent that she fought. Right? So this was done July 23rd of last year. Right? So between July and December, what happened? What happened to Mark Taffet that made him become an ex-manager of Claressa Shields? Because before, PAPOOSE and Mark Taffet were there, and he's posting about her, so it's safe to assume he was still working with her for this particular fight, right? As she put up, this is the girl that fought Shadesha Green, by the way, and, put her in the stretcher or whatever, Lonnie Daniels. So for the Lonnie Daniels fight, he was still working with Claressa Shields. So the summertime, right? Summertime. Look, he was doing interviews about her fights. So great to chop it up with the architect of HBO, Mark Taffet, and current manager of To The GOAT, Claressa Shields. Wow. What a difference a year makes. So more proof that in July, I'm giving you the timestamps. And there's another promoter, Richard Schaefer. He was managing her, interviewing about her in July, right, of just last year. Fast forward to the future. Look, he was advertising the fight, all that good stuff. He's like, it continues for women's boxing. It's GOAT time. Look, he's in her corner. Claressa Shields puts her undisputed heavyweight titles, blah, blah, blah. Right? Then you see Kay Scott was just a female boxer who wasn't signed to him. And she's like, what a fight. Right? Because she was friends with Claressa Shields. Right? It's starting to get a little weird. I know. And so on and so forth. This man advocating for his fighter. Right? Look, all these posts. No woman on the planet can touch this lady below inside a boxing ring. No one. But now he's managing Kay Scott going against her. So 52 weeks ago, last year, he was saying no one could beat her. It's looking a little bit shaky, right? You have a manager who worked with Claressa Shields, said nobody could beat her when he was managing her just last year, right? Like literally this month makes it a year from this post that I just showed you, right? And he said no one could beat her, and then now he's representing her upcoming opponent, Kay Scott. Crazy how that works. So again, he's been repping Claressa Shields. You look at a lot of his posts. Look, Claressa, Trump, more Claressa, the Queens of Salida promotion, right? Great roster, best in the business, right? So he was rocking with Claressa Shields. My question now is, this man is promoting Claressa Shields, managing her, advocating for her, putting her pictures up. So to me, from the eye test, it looks like he's doing a good job as a manager, right? Look, honoring the queens of Salida Promotion. And he looks pretty tight with Salida Promotions. So, look, my question to you is, how do we go from, look, big, strong shoulders and back of heavyweight champ Claressa Shields. This was earlier in the year when she fought that tall girl, right, at heavyweight. So my question to you is this. Look, the Perkins fight. My question is this. He been rocking with Claressa Shields, repping her, being a manager. That's Claressa right there. Let me zoom in. Doing what a manager's supposed to do, promoting his talent, right? But suddenly it stopped. Suddenly it stopped. Claressa's still undefeated, so it's not like she lost a fight and, you know, she's looking to blame someone. So she continues to win. So my question is, what happened to your manager that has him now as an ex-manager, right? Now we're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere indeed. Now, here's an interview from also same year, 2025, right? With PAPOOSE. And listen to what he says. Play the clip.
She did an amazing job when she spoke to me one-on-one, talking about, you know, how you just came in and solved simple problems for her, and it works. You know,
he came in and solved simple problems for her. Okay, so a rapper who didn't have much of a blockbuster career, not when compared to Jay-Z, to Nas, to 50 Cent, to Eminem, to Tupac Shakur, to Kendrick Lamar, right? This rapper got a boxer, Claressa Shields, to sign to a unknown Win Records company that their LLC shows it was established 1 year ago, 2025, right? And came in with no boxing background, no experience like in boxing, in the actual industry, and solves simple problems. Let's keep going.
not just relationship-wise, but business-wise. Can you talk a bit about,
business-wise?
What your day-to-day is like working with Claressa as the boxer and on the business side, removing the boyfriend side of it?
Right. I just like to add on, you know what I'm saying? I was always taught to add on and never subtract. One of the things that you got.
I was taught to always add on and never subtract. But I just showed you that the manager, Mark Taffet, was in fact subtracted. I told you I do my research. Now, let me know in the comment sections the excellent job that I'm doing. That don't make sense, huh, Papoose? How does that make sense? I was always taught to add on and not subtract. But somehow she signs with Win Records. We don't know who they are. She got offers from Eddie Hearn, a established British boxing promoter and promotion that has Anthony Joshua. She got an offer from Jake Paul and Nikisa with MVP. But somehow, some way, this new company is hurling money at her. We don't know none of their rap artists. We don't know any of their singers' songs. They have no other athletes until recently, right? And no one bigger than Claressa Shields. No one on the label bigger than Claressa Shields. And he just said, I like to add on and not subtract. What happened to the manager, Mark Taffet? Because it certainly looks like he was subtracted, right? He had been rocking with her for years, right? Been her manager. What happened? And why did it happen? We need answers, huh, Arissa? So it's already looking fishy to me.
It's like to add on, you know what I'm saying? I was always taught to add on and never subtract. You know, one of the things that you got...
Never subtract, but suddenly the manager, after several years, is gone for no explanation, and it looked like he was doing a good job from me, my set of eyes.
What I understand about this deal and about Claressa's whole situation is, and I want people to hear this part because this is very important, she had offers from everybody out there.
Exactly what I just said. So he confirmed that MVP and Eddie Hearn and others wanted her, but she landed at Win Records. Play the clip.
So the biggest to the smallest, everyone put their best foot forward. And I don't say that in a bad way. I want to salute them for doing that. But that's a testament to how amazing this deal is, because this is the one that she chose, and it includes her previous promoter, Dimitri. So it says a lot about him, what he's done, raising.
So it has nothing to do with the fact that you guys are boyfriend and girlfriend and sleeping together, right? She just loved the deal, and it was just a deal. Man, come on, bro.
Her since she was young in this game was the right thing, that he was able to still be a part of it. But to answer your question, you know, our day to day, I just like to be myself, and naturally, you know, being older than her and having experience, you know, experience as a teacher, I just see certain things that, and if I see it, I speak up on it. Some people don't like to listen. Fortunately, Claressa is one of them individuals that she listens. And
yeah, she listens and gets rid of her manager. Wow.
Own way. You know,
I talked to her about natural curiosity, because I've seen the back and forth with her and Jake Paul, and I'm like, if they got together, they would be great on the promotional side, right? And she said that they brought an offer to the table.
Now, again, MVP made an offer, but she declined it to go with Papoose and Win Records, where he happens to be her boyfriend and happens to be an exec in the head of hip hop, even though Claressa Shields is not a hip hop act. Yeah, this is making a lot of sense.
But it wasn't what she decided to go with. And she said every single time she walked out of the room from an offer that wasn't what it needed to be, y'all talked about it. For you, what did you like and not like about the offer from Jake Paul and the MVP team?
I'm confused. I really am. Is it cold in here, or is it just me? I'm very confused. Now, I told you I had a deep dive for y'all. I'm very confused, right? Very, very confused. Here's why. Remy Ma, and I played it earlier in this video for you. Remy Ma claimed that Papoose got a cut of Claressa Shields' money because he was managing her, right? So what confuses me is Claressa Shields vehemently denied that, right? Exhibit A, May 22nd. 2, Papoose is not my manager. Mark Taffet Media is my manager. Oh, man. Why you gonna let ego do you like this, huh? Okay. So, Mark Taffet, we've already established last year, was her manager. She's confirming it here. Papoose is not my manager. Mark Taffet is my manager. I don't let nothing or nobody play with my money, says Claressa. Since I've been with Papoose, he has created opportunities for me to get bags. So that talk was cap. So, again, I'm not the smartest brother in the world, but this is highly confusing. Claressa Shields says, Papoose is not my manager, Mark Taffet is. I've already proven to you that he's representing K. Scott, no longer representing Claressa Shields in the here and now. She confirmed this at the press conference. at the press conference, which is why I waited to see if anybody else outside of Ego or managing another fighter and going against me. She just told you. Let's now that I've revealed it, let's play it again.
You know, giving her the direction. First time that my ex-manager Mark Taffet is on the opposite side of me, representing some. Maybe this is the first time that just do, and this is the maybe this is the first time that my ex-manager Mark Taffet is on the opposite side of me, representing somebody else
that you had last week, right? So now the only thing in question is, who is your manager? Because you said it wasn't PAPOOSE. So was it not PAPOOSE at the time? And then Mark Taffet was at the time, but then you ushered him out? Or what? What gives, Claressa? Right? Who is your manager? Surely a undefeated fighter, a two-time gold medalist, an Olympian, they have to focus, hone in on camp life, dieting. You said you had 25 pounds to lose, right? I got the video. So you can't really do everything yourself, I would imagine. You got to spar, you got to box, you got to lose the weight, right? That's a lot. Ain't that a lot for one person? Like, so what is the deal? Let's keep going. Now, when she said PAPOOSE is not my manager, a fan says, okay, but we know he's more than a manager to you. You melt down and become soft in his presence. And she said, excuse me? So that's kind of weird. You just said he's not your manager, but then somebody says you melt in his presence, like basically you're softy for him or whatever, and you're like, excuse me, like laughing, right? Now, Hot 97 posted this last year. Claressa Shields, PAPOOSE, and her management team, right, announced a historic $8 million contract, the largest contract in women's history. Why did they tag PAPOOSE though? They didn't even tag Claressa Shields. They tagged the cameraman and PAPOOSE. Again, I'm highly confused by this. Why does it say Claressa Shields, PAPOOSE, and her management team announced the $8 million contract, and PAPOOSE is the only one tagged on Hot 97? So a New York radio show and a New York rapper, why is he being tagged if he's not your manager? That's what you said. You said PAPOOSE is not my manager, but in this post in November, when you signed to Win Records, they're only tagging him, right? So kind of a weird caption. Now, let me take it a step further. We know for a fact Claressa be online all the time, right? And if she don't like a caption, she don't have no problem reaching out to whoever, whatever company left the caption, because she just told us she did it to BET, right? She literally just said that. She said, we thought BET's caption, dragging your man to the award show, was whack. So my team, we reached out to them, and suddenly BET changed the caption. So in preparation for this video, how come Hot 97 has that post up, didn't even tag you, only tags the cameraman and PAPOOSE, and it says your management team? So who is your management team? We know it's not Mark Taffet anymore. You said it's not PAPOOSE, so who is it? So next thing I did was I went to Google. Maybe Google can extract all this different information and help me to find out, since it's not PAPOOSE, according to her tweet last year, and she confirmed Mark Taffet is her ex-manager, I said, you know what? Let me research to see who it is. This is what pulled up. Claressa Shields manages her own career. Oh, brother. Claressa Shields manages her own career and directs her management team, working closely with her partner, the rapper PAPOOSE. Oh, who helps oversee her career strategy, business, and major deals. She operates as an athlete-led trailblazer rather than relying on traditional soul management and a soul manager. What did Lil Wayne say? Cut the music off, please. Again, this confuses me. She's now managing her own career. Well, I mean, this is what Google's saying. Now, I know some people they'll say, oh, AI is not right and, it's not reliable. Okay. So my question is, who is your manager then? It's no longer Mark Taffet. He's working with K. Scott going against you. Previously, when Remy said Pap was your manager, you shut that down quick. Cool. So who is your manager? If this is wrong and you're not managing your own career and directing your management team, who's your manager? Because, again, you dealing with the king of boxing talk here. You know how many of these press conferences and fight weeks I done covered? So surely your manager would attend your fight week festivities, your press conferences. So again, who is this person, right? When I go to press conferences, like let's say Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder has a manager. His name is Shelly Finkel. He worked with Klitschko and a bunch of other people, right? When I go to Wilder fights in the past, Shelly Finkel's there every time. And I don't know offhand, but he's an older gentleman. Older gentleman, right? Because he's been in the business for a minute, right? I'm trying to show you how this game go. Boom, I just looked it up for y'all. So Wilder's manager, renowned American music and boxing promoter, he was born in 1944. He's 82 years old. So this 82-year-old man is right there front and center at Wilder's press conferences. Right? Still making the trip to this day. And if you don't believe me, go look at Wilder events and then tell me if you see this guy, right? Tell me if you see him. Simple challenge. That's it. That's all you got to do. So that's kind of how it works. Typically, for high-profile athletes, the manager probably would be there in support. And like, okay, I don't want to inundate y'all with senseless semantics. Why would you pay a manager if they're not going to be present? Right? If your job is a boxing manager, you're supposed to help wade in the waters and help the fighter navigate through obstacles. Or if there's an outlandish question that could land them in trouble or jail, or it could be a legal issue, like Wilder is him and his ex have like legal proceeding. So that's when maybe a manager, if an interviewer is prying, maybe a manager would be like, all right, no more questions. This is what managers do. right? Sometimes a PR person, but also managers, right? So who the is Claressa Shields' manager? Is that simple. You previously disagreed with Remy and said it wasn't Pap. Google saying it's you and you're managing yourself. And again, you confirmed your longtime ex-manager is now managing K. Scott, which I've already proven in this video. So who is it? Win Records? Ruben? Right? And then let's say it's Win Records. This man is a nurse. Why would a nurse who started a record label, and from my research, it looks like he had a PPP loan during Rona, right? So now he's in the boxing business. How can he manage what you got going on more than Mark Taffet, who is a boxing manager for multiple people for multiple years, including HBO Boxing, which is no longer, is passe, right? Is now defunct. So he clearly has experience. So again, I'm asking the question, why would Claressa Shields have a longtime manager in Mark Taffet who knows the business, is certified, and then suddenly you get with PAPOOSE, right? You sign to Win Records, and now the knowledgeable guy who worked with HBO Boxing, Manager Mark Taffet, is no longer your manager. And I can't recall any type of updated announcement like, hey, here's my new manager. For example, Errol Spence, longtime trainer, his name is Derek James. He's no longer with Derek James. So he announced he's with longtime trainer who's worked with a lot of heavyweight greats, Ronnie Shields, right? So that is known and documented. How come all of Claressa Shields' career business since signing to Win Records seems backhanded? These people gonna backdoor you. Why does it seem like shady, shysty, unclear, very enigmatic, right? Why is everything so mysterious? Who's your manager? Who? I sound like an owl because I don't have the answers. Google saying it's you. So again, you previously said it wasn't PAPOOSE. Cool. That's what you said. Oh, Pap not my manager. He didn't do it. It ain't Pap. Who is it? Because Google's saying you're managing your own career and directing your own management team, working closely with your partner, rapper PAPOOSE, which don't sound far off from what Remy Ma said, right? And even if you don't have like an announced manager, oh my gosh, y'all making this too easy. What we do know, because I'll let Claressa Shields answer who her manager is, but what we do know and what we can't prove is that interview I played you with PAPOOSE. He said he likes to add and never subtract and this and that. This sounds like managerial stuff. That's my personal opinion. We do know that Claressa and PAPOOSE were on Gilly and Wallow podcast, and Claressa said, you know why I don't do MMA fighting anymore? Because he can't take it. Look it up. Gilly and Wallow podcast with Claressa and PAPOOSE. And then PAPOOSE gets on the mic and explains how he don't want her doing MMA fights because she's a decorated prize fighter. Again, highly confusing. This man is not your manager. That's what your last known recorded documentation says, that Pap ain't your manager. Then who is? And if he's not your manager, how come he's telling you not to do MMA? But previously, your team seen fit to have their 2-time Olympic gold medalist do MMA. So why does he get a say-so? You guys aren't married. He's married to Remy Ma. You guys don't have a kid. He got a kid with Remy Ma, right? So why does he have any type of jurisdiction on your career and have a say-so? Like, if I'm dating somebody, they don't have a say-so on my YouTube. Like, I make the calls on my YouTube. How? And then again, that's actually a good example. Why would I holler at my girl to give me YouTube advice? She don't do YouTube though. She don't know enough. I know YouTube. So if I'm going to hire somebody to advise me or manage me about YouTube, they got to know more about YouTube than me. They can't know less. How can I get a girl that has never done YouTube and then say, hey, what should I do with my YouTube? Does that make sense to anybody? So Papoose, he don't come. I've been to several fights. I've never seen him regularly. I've been covering fights for 15 plus years. So he don't have no deep background where he's at Gleason's gym and I'm there, right? And that's in Brooklyn. That's like Dumbo. That's Brooklyn, right? So how do these people win records sign you with no boxing experience for real, right? How does Papoose, you say he's not a manager, cool. But he seems to be a voice in your ear that you're going to listen to. So what's the difference? You know what I mean? Like, again, I'm not here for no semantics. If you say I don't have a personal trainer, but your boyfriend is a fitness guy and he's telling you every exercise to do, how to eat, how many reps, then what are we doing? What games are we playing? Okay, so he's not officially your personal trainer, but he's giving you your muscle splits, your nutritional plan. He's showing you how to lift. Like, I mean, at that point, outside of semantics, isn't that pretty much a personal trainer? Who cares if they have their certification? They're instructing you on what to do. Y'all let me know in the comment section. Now, again, the host is asking Papoose, how did she land on Win Records instead of going with Jake Paul, Nikisa, and MVP?
What did you like and not like about the offer from Jake Paul and the MVP team?
I gotta say that it was amazing. I sat there and I seen their whole entire presentation, and I want to salute them for the way they do business and the way they operate. Very smart individuals. You know what I mean? I've never won the front on nobody.
So he just said Jake Paul and Nikisa are smart, intelligent, and they had a dope setup and PowerPoints and all this to show what they could do for Claressa Shields. Meanwhile, Claressa Shields, her press conference looks like dog shit, and she's and she's boxing with Ray J. If I had one wish, as a matter of fact, there was a one who said I loved you first. It was about 8 years and the kid from Major Pain and Big Lex and Tashiki, right? So you're on record, Papoose, saying you seen how MVP get down and you're not one to front and hate, and they had their stuff set up. And she didn't go with him, cool. But we've seen Alicia Baumgardner on ESPN and Shadaysha Green on ESPN. We've seen Katie Taylor and Serrano get $9 million, $10 million in the one fight and fight on Netflix with record-breaking numbers. Win Records, that's a great name for y'all, because when y'all gonna do something like that, right? Claressa Shields fight is on DAZN and then the baddies undercard is on Zeus. That's two different apps that people have to go through to try to watch the whole card. It's looking shaky for these people. She should have took the MVP deal.
I didn't dislike anything about it. Ultimately, the decision is up to Claressa because she's the one who has to live it out.
He didn't dislike anything about MVP's offer, but the decision is up to Claressa. Bro, this dude, I really believe he is partly the mastermind, and he tried to play the role in front of the cameras, right? Which is what Remy said. This guy's talking circles around this naive girl. She's only 31, ain't experienced too much life, puppy love or whatever. And this man is pillow talking her ear to death. She's not used to getting attention. And I personally think he taking advantage of her, right? And you done got her in this probably 360 deal with all these hands in the cookie jar. And now her career looks horrible. She should have went with MVP. But let Claressa say, I don't need MVP. I don't need Jake Paul. Okay. But he just told you they had their stuff put together and he didn't dislike anything about it. But guess what? Everything about Win Records, what they're doing with Claressa's career and how she's acting, we dislike all of that.
You know what I'm saying? But they had an amazing deal, and I think for anybody else, that deal would have been even more amazing. But I think for Claressa, who she is and where she's at, you know, I wouldn't say it was a perfect fit for her.
Got you.
Notice when people don't really have nothing, they say stupid stuff like that. What was that? So you didn't say, oh man, that deal was weak or the deal point here was bad and what we're offering is so much better, right? You didn't really do that. You just said, oh, they did it good and much respect to them, but it wasn't right for her. Why? Because you got in her ear probably and told her, hey, here, oh my God, this girl, bro. I truly believe Claressa has effed up her career on account of a married man. That's what I believe, right? And you got to understand the snakiness involved here. And it's very selfish from PAPOOSE as well. These people are horrible for each other. That's what I believe. Because PAPOOSE, him and Remy were at odds or whatever, right? Cool. But you have no placement at MVP, right? So if Remy kicked you out the house, your rap career is failing. Like you're not doing no crazy numbers or crazy tours that are beating Chris Brown and Usher and Kendrick tours, right? What do you really have? Because Remy Ma, that's why I told you I had to set the table earlier portion of the video. Remy said you don't have money like that. You're the least earning guy that she been with. That's what she said. So what would make a man convince a woman that he's with to sign a worse deal? If you truly love Claressa Shields, why would you want her to join your company knowing you guys can't do better than MVP? And I think at this point, it's very provable. Because if you could do, I just feel like if you could, you would, right? You haven't did an ESPN platform deal, Sky Sports, Netflix. MVP did all three. So you haven't provided any opportunity better than what MVP's doing for their fighters. More exposure, more money, better promotion, better looking press conference, nothing. So I think these people were banking also on Layla Ali, right? That's why they were like, we got $15 million. They were trying to scam her into joining it. I love Layla Ali for not taking the fight. Legacy cemented, beautiful woman, beautiful family, kids. She got business endeavors, been retired happily. I'm so glad she didn't take the fight. You know why? Because this is scam likely to me. And that would have been a stimulus package for these people. That would have been a bailout for these people to have a qualified, legendary name and then a decorated Claressa Shields fight. That would have been like the revival that they needed. But in her choosing not to do business, it really left these people scrambling and looking dumb, right? Because you don't have big names for her. And in the ones that you do have, she's not fighting, like Chris Cyborg, Hannah Gabriels, or whoever. So how are you guys making money when you got to split the pie with Zeus, Salida, Claressa, PAPOOSE, Win Records, and she's fighting an unknown OnlyFans Australian that nobody want to see her fight? We know at the price point DAZN offers, you're not going to get a bunch of buy rates and subscriptions for that fight. In fact, I did a live and I showed the crowd, DAZN didn't even have Claressa on the landing page, on the first page. So they don't really care about that fight. They had Anthony Joshua, Lamont Roach. They didn't even put her fight on there. So we know you're not going to get much traffic, especially when the platform ain't even advertising it. Rissa. But peep what she says here. Y'all got to listen.
Conversation and the echoing of today that I've heard is it wouldn't have been possible without Pat. And I think it's the trust there, but I also think it's the knowledge there as well too, right?
It wouldn't have been possible without Pap. So again, Claressa said he's not a manager, but the deal would not have been possible without PAPOOSE. Looking shaky, baby. And again, who needed this deal to close so they could profit? Look it. In these situations, you got to always look for, when you're looking for the mole, you got to look for who stands to gain something, right? Claressa, in my true, deepest opinion, she went out like a sucker, man. Because you had friends of 11 years like Nigeria. She don't really benefit from you. You were doing power play stuff and taking away tickets and stuff like that. So she was asking you about PAPOOSE. Hey, you think he still mess with Remy Ma? And you cut her out. And you did an interview. He had on a green suit talking about, man, Pap, he tell me to cut people off. He just like snip, snip. So we already know this dude is likely a mastermind in your ear and is led to you cutting off and isolating yourself and alienating yourself in certain ways from ex-friends and family. And what has it gotten you, right? But again, when you're looking for the mole, you got to see who stands to gain something, right? Nigeria, what does she really gain being your friend from 11 years by saying something that could offend you? Hey, you think PAPOOSE is messing with his ex? She don't really gain nothing there, right? So she probably was saying that from the bottom of her heart, looking after you because she's a friend. But you took it as, oh, you trying to break us up. Oh, you a hater. Oh, you're not on my side. And you picked the man. But in this situation, he can't say nothing was wrong with the MVP deal, said they had everything, they ran a tight ship basically, but somehow you end up on Win Records we never heard of, and your career's been floundering ever since. But again, who stood to gain something with you joining Win? The boyfriend who is head of hip hop with Win? That probably needs the look and the exposure and the money? Man, come on, bro. This look crazy. This girl out here looking crazy, right? I could understand if Papoose was just a platonic friend and he was like, man, you should choose this, but he don't benefit whether you go with MVP or win. That's a true friend, right? Because that's how I am. When people ask me their opinion, there's no jealousy, envy, or malice. When my friends ask my opinion and I hear the situation, I try to give them the best possible decision. Like, hey, if that was me, I'll take this job. Because at the end of the day, no matter what job they take, it won't affect me. I'm just being a friend, giving you my honest opinion. But this girl was foolish enough to let her boyfriend, who actually works with the company, lure her in and go fishing and reel her in. And then she's like, oh, he's not my manager, but he still stands to gain something. This gave him new life. He's able to speak on the mic. Why is he on the mic? He's not your manager. Why are you speaking on the mic? Claressa got a lot of questions to answer. Why is he, when you were in Detroit and your hair looked a mess with the orange hair, why was Papoose behind you? He's just the boyfriend, right? There's a lot of boxers that have girls. They don't always be on the video, though. Why is he in the back? You had a press conference for the K. Scott. Why did he get on the mic? What is his role? Like, when have you seen Errol Spence and his girl get on the mic? Why would she need to get on? No, and Errol's my guy. That's why I used him as an example. I love Errol Spence. Pause. But why would his girlfriend need to get on the mic? Why would wifey need to get on the mic? Or anybody else? These people, man.
And the echoing of today that I've heard is it wouldn't have been possible without Pat. And I think it's the trust there, but I also think it's the knowledge there as well too, right? That you bring to the table. Does it ever make you upset?
The knowledge, but he ain't done nothing in boxing. But okay.
We talked a bit about this in our interview just now, how it's annoying to her that people make it seem like you're not adding on, like you're subtracting or taking from her. Does that narrative, does that upset you when people have conversations about what you bring to the table or what you don't when it comes to your relationship?
It doesn't upset me, but it disappoints me. It disappoints me that Cat Williams did a stand-up one time, and out of nowhere, I never met Cat Williams, and he said, and when he was doing his stand-up, he said, "Yo, why y'all don't fuck with Papoose? Like, he ain't never do nothing but G shit. He ain't never did nothing but real shit." And me and him never even met. So I just bring that up to say that,
bro, this man randomly brought up Cat Williams. Wow. Hey, how you doing? Doesn't matter. What does Cat Williams have to do with anything? Because he name dropped you? Man, get these people out of my face, man.
what I've done being in this game for so long, never selling my soul, never backdooring, never doing no sideways, I'm disappointed that
here we go with that backdoor stuff.
Some of y'all would actually believe some of that foolishness. Very disappointed. So it doesn't upset me, but for those who know me, cool. The newcomers, the casuals who don't know no better, I get it. But those of y'all who know me, it's very disappointing that you would even jack some of that because it makes no sense at all.
Again, you notice he don't really answer the questions. And he said he's disappointed. Who cares if Pap's disappointed? Like, what does that mean, bro? What have you provided for Claressa's career? Every time she getting dog walked on the internet, you're rarely there to like defend her, pick her up, or, you know, like find a soft spot for her to land. Man, these people are messy, bro. And then he's like, ever since I came in the game, all I did was G stuff. Bro, whatever you did was in hip hop. Boxing's a whole different beast. If I work at Burger King, that don't make me mean I'll be a good CEO at Apple. Like what does Burger King got to do with that? You know what I mean? Like different industries. And again, if you disagree, tell me what he's done that has positively uplifted Claressa Shields. Before she got with a married man, her career was doing better. Pay attention.
And she talked about you not wanting her to do MMA. I know it's very dangerous. It's a different type of fight when she gets in that ring, right?
Yeah, man. Like I said earlier, as a fan of her coming up, when I seen her do MMA, I was like pissed off. Like, damn, why is she doing that? Like nobody in her circle was telling her the right thing. And so now that we actually end up meeting each other, I had to tell her. I said, yo, you please don't ever do that shit again, man. She was like, yo, you know they pay me $300K, and I'm like, yo, you're a masterful boxer. Like you can't do that. Like you got Claressa Shields, like Kobe, Mayweather. They in a class by themselves. You know what I'm saying? Anyone who knows boxing will agree with me. A lot of people who speak on Claressa, they don't know nothing about boxing at all. So they be saying things and they be very inconsistent with the truth.
Again, she said he's not the manager, but he sure seems to have a big say-so in what she does. I don't lie. I just told you, Gillian Wallow, he said the same thing. He didn't want her doing MMA. Who are you? You're not her manager, she said. So how she was like liking the money. She was liking challenging herself. The rest of her team seen fit for her to do it. She's now saying she'll street fight people. So who are you to come in after knowing her at this point a year, allegedly, and tell her, hey, you got to stop that MMA stuff. But you're not the manager? It's sounding like managerial duties. If you got this much of a voice to control, and since that time in 2024, she said that her last MMA fight was in 2024, and allegedly she met Pap and went public in 2024. So she's never did MMA, so she's listening to you. Man, these people look so crazy. Again, I got so many questions. Back to the press conference. Y'all not paying attention like I'm paying attention, man. Hype my video up, subscribe, donate, all that. Bet on me. Bet on me, I'm the future, man. I don't be playing with the research. Cash App in my link me in the description. Pay attention to what she just said, man.
And I'm just looking forward to just putting on a show in Atlanta. I was supposed to come here 2 years ago. And then at the beginning of the year. And every time we got a fight coming up, we go back and forth between Atlanta and Detroit. Atlanta and Detroit. And this time, I'm not going to lie, Pat was like, we going back to Detroit. I said, no, we are not.
I'ma make him say, Did you hear what she said? She said I was supposed to been fight in Atlanta. This time, we were going back and forth. Atlanta, Detroit. And she said this time, PAPOOSE said Detroit. Man, come on, bro.
Everything else gonna be smaller. And I'm just looking forward to just putting on a show in Atlanta. I was supposed to come here 2 years ago. And then at the beginning of the year. And every time we got a fight coming up, we go back and forth between Atlanta and Detroit. Atlanta and Detroit. And this time, I'm not gonna lie, Pat was like, we going back to Detroit. I said,
I'm not gonna lie. This time, Pap was like, we going back to Detroit.
Come here 2 years ago. And then at the beginning of the year. And every time we got a fight coming up, we go back and forth between Atlanta and Detroit. Atlanta and Detroit. And this time, I'm not gonna lie, Pat was like, we going back to Detroit. Go back and forth between Atlanta and Detroit. Atlanta and Detroit. And this time, I'm not gonna lie, Pat was like, we going back to Detroit. Go back and forth between Atlanta and Detroit. Atlanta and Detroit. And this time, and every time we got a fight coming up, we go back and forth between Atlanta and Detroit. Atlanta and Detroit. And this time, I'm not gonna lie, Pat was like, we going back to Detroit. I said, no, we are not. We are fighting in Atlanta.
What I tell you, this what happens when you can't stop running your mouth. Boxing Ego gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. Pack her up, man. I'm gonna find it. She just revealed this particular fight. It was between Detroit and milk the Detroit public, because you're from that area. It's close enough to Flint, an hour and change from Flint, so your people could travel, or go to Atlanta. She just said PAPOOSE was like, we going to Detroit. We're going, not like, hey, I think it'd be a good idea. She just said, we're going to Detroit, and she overrode it and said, no, we not. We doing Atlanta, right?
We are not in Detroit. And this time, I'm not gonna lie, Pat was like, we're going back to Detroit. I said,
Pat was like, we're going back to Detroit.
no, we Atlanta and Detroit, Atlanta and Detroit. And this time, I'm not gonna lie, Pat was like, we're going back to Detroit. I said, no, we are not.
Boom. So again, you're no longer with Mark Taffet as your manager. Previously, you said Pat wasn't your manager. Google saying you're managing, you're doing the managerial stuff yourself. This girl is a bonehead, man. Who is your manager? And again, you said it wasn't PAPOOSE. Then why is he making decisions about your career? He's supposed to be the head of hip hop with Win Records, no? What does your fight have to do with hip hop? What does it have to do with TuneCore? Anything that he reportedly has a job for. So he's the head of hip hop. So that means stand in the back of you in Detroit when you're saying you got a big announcement being interviewed. He's the head of hip hop. That means he has the say so in the pool to get you to stop competing in dual sports and doing MMA. He could just be like, nah, you're not doing that no more. Nah, we not doing that. He's the head of hip hop with Win Records. And then mysteriously Mark Taffet, he's working with the other side and no longer working with you anymore. He's the head of hip hop. And then suddenly you already revealed at the press conference that he told you we're going back to Detroit. Who is he to make that? If he's not your manager, how can he make that type of decision? This girl be telling on herself. And then when you call it out, she'll make it like you're the problem. Oh man, these bloggers be lying. I ain't lie. All I did in this video was ask questions and show receipts. So it's up to you to put your thinking caps on with all the information I provided and ask the real questions like me. Who is this girl's manager? How was signing the MVP not a better idea than this? This seems like amateur night. Ruben got on the mic. He wasn't really talking about nothing. He's a nurse turned into a record label, turned into a network with boxers. They don't have no linear channel like ESPN, Sky Sports, ITV in the UK, NBC. They don't have nothing like that. So no network deal, right? Like this long-term exclusive. Like Jake Paul got a multi-million-dollar contract with ESPN. His press conference don't look like dogs like Claressa's with no crowd energy and two people in the media row. And again, ask the question. If PAPOOSE is only the boyfriend and not the manager, what happened to your old manager? And why does he seemingly get to make important career decisions like the venue for your next fight? This is probably why she had to team up with Zeus, because the only way the K. Scott fight would get done in Atlanta is to have some kind of freak show with Ray J and Big Lex and all them. You needed the pool. You needed, so now you got these people, whoever your, oh my gosh, bro. Whoever your manager is, you got a raw deal, right? Because now you've brought in a third party that's going to get a cut of the profits. So what manager that's been in the boxing industry is not actively trying to cut out middlemen and make sure the margin is the highest it's going to be and the profitability is the highest that it can absolutely be, right? This girl got a ton of hands in her pocket and got the nerve to be bragging. And if you listen to that PAPOOSE interview I played, she wanted to do MMA because she got $300K. So it sounded like she was excited about that. So she's claiming she's so rich. Why were you so hype off of taking a loss in MMA for $300K? Man, let me know what you feel in the comment section. I think this whole thing stink. We don't know who her manager is. We know who is not, and that's Mark Taffet. And then now, the reason why this is pertinent and important is because her career needs a manager more than ever to help you try to get back to what you once was. But all the decisions look bad. And it's ever since you got with these people. Checkmate.